Ah! Woo! Sorry there. I just got scared. Not by the jump scare, by the fact that a camera was recording me. And because I'm playing Five Nights at Freddy's, that means that I gotta have an over-the-top reaction. You know, I want my video to gain 1 million views. Because the year is, 2015, I guess. Hello everybody, welcome to the Ali Animation YouTube channel, which lays dormant until I eventually decide to make a video. And today, the topic of this video is Five Nights at Freddy's. Ooh! If you're a kid like me who grew up around the YouTube sphere in the past decade of existence, you might know this little indie horror game called Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a very small franchise, you probably never heard of it, right? It only has a couple videos on YouTube or so. I'm not gonna lie, this is honestly one of my favorite video games, probably of all time. Okay guys, be honest, who really thought that was the topic of today's video? Ooh, was it you? Was it you? Ooh, did I get you? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but that's not the topic of today's video. In fact, let's move on to the topic of today's video, which is Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. Ooh! Five Nights at Freddy's fan games are... Do I need to explain what this is as well? Five Nights at Freddy's fan games are usually games created by fans for fans of the series, inspired by the original game. And, you know, when the original game came out, everybody kind of wanted to have a go at it, right? Because it was such a simple but effective concept. It's kind of hard to imagine it, but, you know, 10 years ago, there really was a robot fever for these types of haunted Chuck E. Cheese. And obviously, if you know anything about the Five Nights at Freddy's community, you know how big these fan games actually are nowadays. Here, as you can see, we have some of the most iconic Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. Some of them are part of the Fazbear fanverse. So, yeah, we got Candies, we got Pop Goes, we got Joy of Creation. I love you, Chucky, but if only you weren't real. Thanks to things like the Fanverse initiative, these fan games are now bigger than ever because now they're officially tied with the real series. You can go on youtube.com and you can buy, you know, a Freddy plush along with a Candy plush or Pop Ghost plush, right? Whoa, that light is really bright. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. Okay, come on, let's be honest. Who actually thought that was the topic of today's video? Oh, I got you again. I got you good. Ooh, was it you, Drew? Was it you, Drew? Was it you, Greg? Ooh, I know I got you. I know I got you. I definitely got your ass, Serena. No, guys. I'm just a little trickster. That's not what my video's about. What I want to talk about today is FNAF Scratch Games. As you can see, Five Nights at Freddy's was such a big cultural moment, right, that everybody wanted to play the game. And for many of them, that solution came down to this website. If you can't tell what website I'm looking at, it's Scratch. Scratch.mit.edu. If you've never heard of Scratch, Scratch is a high-level block-based visual programming language and website aimed primarily at children as an educational tool with a target audience of ages 5 to 16. And I'm totally not plagiarizing that from the Wikipedia article about Scratch. It was created by one of the biggest, tech colleges in the world, MIT, as a way to basically teach children how to code, or teach them the basics of code. Scratch is a blocky code website, which basically means that there's no like real coding involved. You're not writing lines of code, you're just dragging and dropping blocks onto sprites, which then you can use to create things like animations and mostly video games. And if you were like me as a teenager, who instead of, you know, going outside and making friends or talking to people in the cafeteria, you would much rather spend your day at the computer lab in the school, then you probably enjoyed messing around on Scratch and just seeing what people posted on the website, and especially at one point, Five Nights at Freddy's fan games were actually really big on Scratch. I mean, if you know anything about the Five Nights at Freddy's series, is that it was created on Click Team Fusion, which is a very basic programming software, game developing software. You know, it's basically like Scratch. If anything, I guess it's kind of easier than Scratch because there's no like real code involved. But I guess it's harder than Scratch in the way that it's kind of just like clicking like flags. But I've never used Click Team Fusion. My point is that both of these softwares are very easy to use and learn. And obviously young people back then, they loved trying to recreate their own version of Five Nights at Freddy's on Scratch. In fact, just look at this. This is one of many project studios dedicated to all Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. Here we have, it says over 100 plus projects. That's crazy. Let me look at one. My point is, at one point, this community was huge. And you've probably seen other YouTubers already make fun of, you know, lightheartedly. Let's be honest, children who, you know, were trying their best to recreate, you know, their own Five Nights at Freddy's. And the truth is, you know, most of these games are just objectively bad. It's just that, again, Scratch is a very limited program, and especially once you try to load too many assets into a game, it just bugs it out, right? Whatever. In fact, these fan games got so big that the reality is most of them are shadow banned now. I guess like Scratch didn't like the fact that so many kids were trying to create, you know, these horror games and then getting spooked and seeing all the angry parents sending them emails like, my child played Five Nights at Freddy's fan game on your website. I'm a conservative adult. But if you've already read the title of this video, you kind of know where I'm trying to go with this. So, guys, I have something important to tell you. I have lied to you yet again. I'm very sorry. It's a chronic condition. I didn't mean to deceive you, but I needed y'all to understand the context behind the topic of today's video, which actually is the weird FNAF Scratch games that I made in high school. And as it says here, this is what my presentation is actually about. I pinky promise you that. Pinky promise that this is what my video is actually about. Yeah! I was one of those kids who had too much free time, and in fact, I just liked the making Scratch projects. It's my old account. In fact, that's kind of what I wanted to dedicate this video to. All my old Scratch projects and just kind of going over each one of them to just revisit what exactly it is that I was doing. But I specifically wanted to focus in on the FNAF fan games that I made for a very specific reason, which you'll find out at the end of this video. So some of my earliest games that you can see on my profile are this one that's called Pac-Dude. Here I'm using the screen record feature on my laptop. So I'm just gonna click the green flag and then space, and that starts the game. And as you can tell, I can use the up, down, left, right arrows to move around. And you're kind of like this yellow circle that's avoiding, you know, these colorful shapes in the map that all have faces, which will be relevant by the next section of this video. Let me just see if I can actually beat this game. And I got stuck in a wall. Great. Yeah, as you can tell, this is very bare bones. I just didn't know how to make a really good game. And, you know, this was basically my first attempt at trying to make, you know, something that functions. And as you can tell, it's not very functional, actually. Let me see, I'm actually gonna make it. Woo! I won! I actually won! That's crazy. W moment. But the reason why I played that game first wasn't just to waste your time and pad out the video with more minutes, right? I'm trying to get over 10 minutes on this video, okay? So back when I was about 15 years old and really obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's like every other 15-year-old is, I started creating my own series of Five Nights at Freddy's parody fan games called Smiley's Diner. Ooh. Which recycled those simple shape caricatures from that other game that I made. And if you haven't figured out what this video is about, I'm gonna be going over every single one of these games that I made at around the same time, because just like Scott Cawthon, I made 4 games in about a year. Remember when Five Nights at Freddy's was simple? Good times. And this was the first one, Smiley's Diner, which, you know, gained a little bit of popularity actually. In fact, it says that it has 650 views. Not bad. And you know, as you can tell here, right, this game looks pretty nice so far, right? I felt really proud, you know, just even learning how to, you know, set up the title in the front and the character in the back with this, as you can tell, this kind of like static, I guess, over the character, the static sprite. And I'm gonna be going over what I like about this game and what I think I could have done better now with my being more knowledgeable about game development. And I'm using game development in very large quotes here, because once I gave up on Scratch, yeah, that was everything. I never made any other games after that. But yeah, so far, the title screen looks really good. One thing that I do have to say is that, as you can see down here, this game has cloud variables. You see, when I made this game, I didn't realize that cloud variables meant variables that were visible to everyone, I guess. The reason why I used cloud variables is because I was trying to get around when you click on the green flag, right? It resets your game, and I didn't want that to happen to people. I wanted them to be able to, like, you know, stop the game, then click the green flag, and then be able to continue to the next night. And I thought that that only applied to, like, the person that was playing the game. I didn't realize that it applied to everyone. Let's actually see here the instructions of the game. Smiley's Diner. Welcome to Smiley's Diner restaurant place. Ooh, where a slice of pizza costs $4.99. Has pizza always been that expensive? Or is it more expensive now? I can't remember if that was supposed to be a joke. You've been given the job of a night guard because you couldn't find someone cheap enough to do it. See, that's part of the humor that I wanted to go with this game. The controls are simple, right? The mouse does everything. But I also included a little piece of inspiration from the actual Five Nights series, where in the later games you can use the WASD keys to close the doors, actually. So you can use the A and D keys to actually close your doors. So in the credits it says, warning, sort of. This game is a parody of FNAF Scratch Games, so it's bound to have jump scares. Don't worry about it. They're not really scary. They shadow banned me for this. And now we have some credits because, you know, I want to just shout out the people that inspired me to make this game. So we have credits. Phone Dude, the phone guy parody in this game, was actually voiced by a guy that I used to know back then online called It's MCB, Martin Carl. I don't know where he is now. I'll probably link to his YouTube channel if I find it. Then it says here the camera idea came from this guy called the Mr. Potato 242, who made a FNAF fan game called like Five Nights at Potatoes, I think. Then we have office idea by Mattias Riff, who I think he also made a FNAF fan game that I used to play a lot back then. I think it was called the Bubba's Diner, if I remember correctly. And of course, FNAF Scott Cawthon, right? And then here we have like a log of bugs, of all the things that were wrong with this game, and I'm pretty sure there's There's more. There's bound to be more. So now I realize that in this video I didn't really do a very good job at explaining each game's mechanics as I was playing them. So in this section I'm gonna do a little bit of game developer commentary to better explain how each of these games works, while also introducing the characters. So the first game in the series is called Smiley's Diner. And now in this game, there's actually 4 characters. So we got Smiley, who's basically Freddy. He'll leave the stage and he doesn't go back. So the way that you actually make him go back is that you gotta click on him on the cameras, which, as you can see in the office layout, there is no flip-up camera. And that's mainly because I just couldn't figure out how to do those Five Nights at Freddy's flip-up cameras that you see in every FNAF fan game. So instead, I kind of took the idea of all the cameras just being TV screens basically on your desk. Obviously, you have 2 doors to each side of your office, which leads us into the next few characters. You got Bluey, right, who's basically the Bonnie of this game. He moves to the left side. Wait a minute. Bluey? Yeah, I know. And then you got Greenie. She's basically the chica of this game, and she'll move to the right side. Then we got Orangey, who's basically the Foxy of this game, but instead of watching him on the cameras, he'll actually move in stages outside of his curtain. So the way that you combat him is that you actually have to give him a controlled shock from your office, and that sets him back, but every time you use a controlled shock, it actually drains your power by 1%, I think it was, when I went back to play the game. So all of these characters can be basically solved by closing the doors, but you also have a 5th character called Purpley. Now what Purpley does is that he basically appears in the cameras, and when he does appear, he'll prevent you from seeing anything in that camera, and you have to click him to make him go away. Otherwise, he won't let you see anything in the game for a certain amount of time. Here we have night 1. That's not supposed to happen. Why are the characters already moving? Oh, I should probably mention how the character AI is supposed to work in this. Back then I actually didn't know how movement opportunities happened in FNAF games, right? So basically each character has a level of 0 to 3 is how I coded them. Where 0 is obviously like they're just not in the game, and the 3 being, you know, the hardest mode in the game. And actually, I think that this night is wrong, because it says that it's supposed to be night 1, but it seems like this is the mechanics of what's supposed to be night 2. So I'm guessing that this game is already bugging out on me. And the way that these characters work is that when they show up at the last camera, right, which is supposed to be the door, right, you're supposed to close it out on them. You can't let them get any further than that, because then they'll get into your office, right? If I let one of these characters move, how do you say, once they disappear in the camera, like once they reach, there you go, like once they reach the end of the camera, you gotta close it out on them. Like here, you know, Bluey came here, now he's gone, right? So that means that he went back to the stage. But you gotta close it out on them once they're in the camera, or else, you know, they'll jump scare you when they disappear, right? That means that they got into your office. And here we could see Orangey, right? He is the you know, Foxy character, right, who appears, and then once they get to the last stage, you gotta control shock him. You can technically control shock him now. I don't think it actually like drains any of your power. And as you can tell, we have this character, you know, the main character, Smiley. And Smiley, right, the way that his mechanic works is that when he gets off the stage, right, like Freddy, the way that you actually make him go back is that you have to click on him in the camera. Like every time he moves, he'll squeak, so you know that he's moved. And you gotta click him to go back, because if you don't, right, then he will, you know, eventually reach your door and then, you know, like kill you and stuff, right? Or I guess not kill you, they'll like kiss you tenderly, right? Oh, they already moved really fast on that one, actually. So yeah, this night is buggy. This is, I guess, the second night, because the phone call was the second night phone call. That was not the first night phone call. And then, of course, you know, you have a character here. I'm probably gonna try and, you know, finish this night, because I do want to feel like I have a sense of accomplishment by beating these games that I made back when I was 15 years old, right? And I want to feel like I have a purpose in my life. So here we go. You know, the night will be coming to an end soon. Actually, we run out of power. And this is, you know, like the Freddy sequence, I guess, at the end of the game. Oh, but 6 a.m. already hit. So it's done. As you can tell, yay, congrats, right? 50 cents. And again, that clearly shows that this was second night, because, you know, it's showing up as if I got overtime, when obviously I didn't. And here we have like what the actual screen is supposed to look like when you beat the game, right? Or I guess when you beat the second night, you got 2 stars, right? And then that opens up your custom mode. And the custom mode is already bugging itself out on me. So we got easy, normal, and hard level. But yeah, easy, right? They'll move. The way that these characters work is that the easy modes, they'll move like every, I think I coded it to be every like 3 to 5 seconds they'll move. Then the normal mode is like every 2 to 3 seconds. And then the hard mode, right, is what I'm playing right now, which is supposed to be every 1 to 3 seconds they'll move. And each character moves slightly faster than each other, right? Or they move at different times. They don't move at the same time. And that was just, you know, like part of the design of the game for me. Because again, I didn't exactly know how movement opportunities worked in the actual Five Nights at Freddy's series, so which is based on time intervals, right, and choosing a number and comparing it to the AI of the character. There, Smiley did something that I guess I wasn't expecting him to do, which is a kind of like double movement. Sometimes that happens, just you know, like if you click him at the exact moment that he's gonna, I guess, already move or go back or whatever, right? Then technically it looks like he almost stayed put, and he squeaked twice. But that's just a little like weird glitch, I guess. I might not actually have enough power for this night. I might have actually used too much of my power, so I'm gonna try and be a little more conscious of it. Yeah, see here, that's kind of basically what happens. Yeah, Brainy's gone, right? So, you know, got him back to the show stage, and then it goes to 0. Technically, that should stop all the characters from moving, but we might get jump scared, actually. Okay, that was fun. I got near enough. I can actually beat that, I'm pretty sure. I just ran out of power a little too quickly. But yeah, that's basically this game. I mean, I think it's pretty fun. I think it had a lot of, it showed a lot of my potential based on the knowledge that I gained from just like my first attempt at a Five Nights at Freddy's game. And I really liked this concept of a whole, you know, like parody series of, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's, to the point that I made more of these. Let me read some of the comments, because again, people really liked this game actually. So here we have somebody say, why was I so scared of the jump scare? Because you're 2 years old. What do you do with the circle? Instructions are in game. Yay, I beat the game. Good for you, Copperhead man. I haven't used... Oh yeah, this is this is MC, right? He's the voice actor of the phone guy, the phone dude. I mean, phone dude. So yeah, you'll see him in the other installments. So yeah, that was actually the first Smiley's Diner, and that's a pretty cute game, right? I'm surprised that many people actually played it. And now, let's move on to the second game of the series. But yeah, here's Smiley's Diner 2. Or I should say, Smiley's Diner 2, Electric Boogaloo. And according to this person, Luigi X, someone needs to explain to me where Electric Boogaloo originates from. And then I say it's from this old-timey movie that's infamous for being bad. Oh, okay. So yeah, here we have, obviously this is a parody of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Let's read what the game is about. Smiley's 2, Electric Boogaloo. Welcome to the new and rebranded Smiley's Diner. We needed to find someone who was cheap enough to want to work as a night guard. Sadly, we found no one. So congrats, you're forced to do this. Check the cameras, block the character signals, survive all night. Survive all 3 nights so you can play endless mode. And we got more credits and inspiration. Phone Dude, King Zombie. Same people as before. Some character mechanics from this guy named Daycare 914. Now in this game, just like the first one, you have a start, you have a second night, and then you have a custom night. But you also have an endless mode, and I'll talk a little bit about that soon. Now as you can tell in this game, you actually don't have doors. Instead, you have signal blockers. So when an animatronic when a character gets to your door, these aren't animatronics, they're not animals. When a character gets to your door, you have to block the signal, and that basically works as a door, I guess. But the thing is that you can only have one signal blocker on at a time. Now in this game, all the same characters from before actually make an appearance starting from the second night onwards. But the new characters that get added are Pinky, which is basically the same as Smiley but on the left. So yeah, you make them go back by clicking on them in the cameras. Then you got Reddy, and Reddy is basically the same as Bluey. Cyane, which is basically the same as Greenie. And as you can tell here, Orangey also makes a comeback, and Orangey you still have to control shock him, but the problem is that every time you control shock him, it basically turns off both of your signal blockers, so you gotta be very worried about that with your strategies. And here we still have that same issue of me using the cloud variables. That's not what I meant them to do. So let's actually see if this game can actually send us to the real first night and not just like night 2.
Hey, what's up, my man? Welcome to new job at the rebrand.
Oh, actually, let's put this back from the beginning. I want to listen to the phone call.
Hey, what's up, my man? Welcome to new job at the rebrand Smiley's restaurant. Place. Thing. You still don't have a name yet. We shut down the old place because of supposedly a kid got food poisoning, but, of course we took care of that lawsuit. We also took out the doors because they wasted too much power, so now we have signal blockers. Yay!
Woohoo! Signal blockers. That's the mechanic.
They can't get in, except for the one in the curtain. Just shock them. Bye.
Yeah, so if you played the original game, you might get the idea for this one as well. So on this one, instead of doors, right, kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, there's actually these things called signal blockers, and I think that was the mechanic that I took from that game. So it's actually kind of an interesting mechanic. It puts you more on edge, right, because you gotta wait until one of the characters leaves, so that you can then, like there, right, both of them were at the doors, right? So the only thing that you can do is like wait until one of the character moves, and you have to make sure that the first one leaves, and then you can turn it on for the second one to leave. So here we see that Reddy is actually gonna come first, and then we can stop Cyane from moving. So hopefully Reddy moves quick enough, like there. And then Cyane left. You know, it's more nerve-wracking. I actually really like this mechanic. I forgot that the game actually does that. Oh yeah, and shocking, Orangey actually opens up both of the doors, right? Both of the doors now have signal. So you gotta quickly, you know, make sure that one of them doesn't have signal anymore, or else, you know, they're gonna come for you. So hopefully I closed it out on time. Yeah, I did. That's exactly why this game is so nerve-wracking. But I'm actually having a lot more fun on this one. And then of course here we have Pinky, who's moving way too quickly to my office now, I see. Right, and it's the same mechanic as Smiley, right? Where they come into your office and you gotta click on them to get back to the show stage, or else they come get you. As you could tell, there was actually an Easter egg there. I don't know when we'll see that character again, but it's a WKQ, right? Who's kind of like the shadow character in this game, right? And when they come up, they'll actually come up on the camera. So when you see them on the camera, right, then you gotta close out, then you gotta click them on the camera. And here we actually finished the first night of one of these games. So far it's so good. And actually, I think I'm having a lot of fun with that one. So let's see if that opens up. Yeah, that opened up the second night. So let's see if we can play through the second night, actually. This one is a lot less buggy than the first one. So I actually did a better job on it. But the characters are moving a lot faster now. Let's hear the phone call.
So, why are you here? You know the contract says employees aren't allowed to work for more than 1 day to avoid lawsuits. You know, guess you read paragraph 3, section 4 of the overtime policy. Well, if you're saying some old characters might want to come out tonight, there's one who'll try and crash your cameras. Click on him, do everything as normal. Bye.
Again, if you haven't seen how the mechanic works, is that you click on one side and then it gives a no signal, but then you click on it again and it opens up the signal, and then the opposite side has no signal anymore. But then using the shock button, right, that actually, you know, causes both sides to have signal. So you gotta keep track of these characters and how they're moving. Technically, you can turn off the phone. Like if I click on that, then it turns off the phone. If you were listening to the phone call and you didn't want to listen to it anymore. I don't know if any other old characters come up on these nights. Oh no. Oh no, they do. Oh no, holy shit. Oh no. Okay, now you actually do have to worry about all of these other older characters coming at your doors. You gotta keep track of these guys as well. Oh, I'm actually having a lot more fun with this game. So the older characters, right, they're in the back room, they come out during the night, and then you gotta make sure that you're closing them. And fuck, I didn't check who came first. Okay, so Reddy's coming first. Then it's... Oh man, I got jump scared. Okay, I didn't make it past night 2. Okay, hold on, let me actually pause it. I'm gonna try and get past night 2 just because I want to get to the custom night. I guess you could say, just like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, this game is purely RNG. Yeah, sometimes you just get really bad luck there, right? So like the two characters will get at your office at the same time, I guess. So yeah, that was the second game. Eventually you do get a custom night. And now to briefly talk about Endless Mode. Endless Mode is basically, as it says here, a fun little challenge after beating Night 3, where you can play a night, a typical night in this game, and there's no stop to it, right? It's endless. So there's actually a leaderboard for people who want to play this, and I think the world record right now is 207 seconds, which is about it's a little bit over 3 minutes, I guess. I don't actually want to spend too much time on each of these games, just because of the fact that I want to show them all off in this video. But if anybody wants to try and beat these, you know, you can always find... I'll link the page down in the description of this video so you can check them out. Yo, what comes after 2? The Squeakquel! That's right! There's a third one now! Smiley's Diner 3... Smiley's Diner 3, the threequel. Now, in this game, just like in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, there's none of the characters... Most of the... Now, just like in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, in this game, there's only one character that can actually end your night, and that is Stripey. Stripey is kind of like the Springtrap of this game. They're not, but yeah, you get it. They basically work the same as Smiley. They basically work the same as Smiley. They'll start on the furthest camera from your office and then go in a snake-like pattern towards your office. And you also make them go back by clicking on them in the cameras. But here's the thing. Stripey can only move one camera at a time, unless an error message happens. Every so often in this game, an error message will pop up, and the way you make it go away is by pressing the E key on your keyboard. So he can move multiple cameras while an error is occurring, so you definitely want to stay on top of that. Oh yeah, and then Purpley comes back. Great. Same mechanic as usual. He'll appear on the cameras, and he can actually block your view from Stripey. So you definitely want to take care of him as quickly as possible. He is a lot more of a threat in this game, actually. So let's say that you finally beat the second game, not like me. And then you're like, wow, I really wish there was a third one. Well, I got good news for you. Smiley's Diner 3. The threequel. So as you can tell, this is a really cute you know, custom night animation of these characters, right? So you got Smiley, and then it quickly, you know, turns into the actual character of you know, this game, who's, I guess, they're not the Springtrap, right? But they're kind of like the Springtrap of this game. I didn't check how many views the last game had, but this one has 445 views. So yeah, it's about the same number of people that were playing these games. They seem to have had a pretty loyal fan base. Wink wink. Stay till the end of this video. So let's check out first what the comments have to say. So we got this person saying 3 people, or actually 2 people, I guess, saying that they beat 3-3 mode. We'll get back to that. The person said that it's okay. Somebody said that this is not good. Okay, let's actually read the description of this game. Smiley's Diner 3, the threequel, the totally last installment of Smiley's Diner, now has you work as the night guard for the robot facility. See, we couldn't find anyone cheap enough to work in such hazardous conditions. But you, don't run out of oxygen, and watch out for Stripey. Can you beat 3-3 mode? And now we have the same controls, right? So you got mouse that does everything, but you also have a control E, which fixes the oxygen error. And we got the same thing, warning, yada yada yada, game has jump scares, right? So now, one thing that I do want to point out of this game is that I think that in terms of like the loading screen, this is the first one that I actually did right. In the sense that you have a start button, you have a second night button, and you have a custom night. Originally, I wanted people to beat each night sequentially so that they can move on to the next one, kind of like how it is in Five Nights at Freddy's. But then I soon realized that cloud variables don't work as I thought they did, and I kind of just gave up and realized that like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? Like it would just be better to allow people to play whatever night they want, right? So if you click start, you got sent to night 1. If you click 2, right, that's night 2, and then custom night, right, is your custom night. So let's see if we can get past night 1, night 2, and then I'll show you off a custom night and 3-3 mode. Night 1. This was also kind of based off of Five Nights at Candy's
what up,
2.
my dude? Welcome to Smiley's Robot Factory.
And as always, Martin is the
This
voice
is where
actor.
all of our robots get made.
So yeah, you can just turn it off. I think it glitched out there. Played it twice for some reason. So here we have Stripey. We're slowly moving to the office, right? If you want to not deal with... They'll say MERP every time they move. Right? If you don't want to deal with that, then you can just like click on him and he'll move back, right? I think I might have glitched out the game actually if he doesn't show up again. No, okay, I definitely debugged that. Okay, I definitely debugged that. So yeah, as you can see there, he moved, that was 1, 2, 3 cameras, I guess, forward. So yeah, getting a lot of errors is not cool. Each night I think is only supposed to be 5 minutes long. So I don't exactly like know or remember how the error mechanic works when it comes to him teleporting. I thought it was only like 3 cameras forward. So it might be a little bit more random than that actually. There he moved to the 4th camera. And then you won. So congrats! You got all of these dollars. And then you can get back to the loading screen. And then you can click on your night 2. That starts night 2. So you got the error, right? You gotta make it go away by clicking E. And you got purpley, right? And what happens, we didn't really see purpley in the other games, but what happens when purpley appears is that he'll just block your view for a couple of seconds. So far so good, you know, not that difficult. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's 3 game, so it's not that difficult to deal with. Just remember what to do, remember when to look for a character. Should be able to get this fairly quickly. Not like the other one, which is honestly really fun. I'm gonna try and go back and beat that one actually. I'm gonna try and go back to beat my own game. Oh wow. See, that's why the error is dangerous, because the error, you can't click on anything while the error is going on. I think that's another mechanic from a game. That might have been the other character mechanic that I was like saying. It's some character mechanics inspired by. Man, he really gets aggressive every so often. It's very nice that I figured out that you can actually make him go back for a couple of seconds there, because otherwise I feel like I'd be struggling a lot more. So yeah, if you got like the error message right while he is at a different camera than is in the first one, right, it could actually be very dangerous, because it could mean that he could just show up at the office at that point. That was an easy one, where both characters are in the same camera. That's another one that kind of happened because of the error. Pretty sure we got this in the bag. Yeah. It's over. yeah, that's night 2, right? Not too bad. And now I get to show you guys what one of these custom modes is. Well, I got to show you on the first game. These ones are different to the way that I made them in the first game, I guess. In that one I had like the easy, normal, hard, but it didn't give like too much customization in the sense of like I wanted people like in the other games to choose, I guess, the characters that can show up in the night. And on this one, right, we got the slider variables where, you know, if you slide it all the way to one side, you can get each character in this game to, you know, like decide how aggressive they are, right? So let's actually see this one, because that's when you get the cool ending to this game. And obviously on this one, they're very aggressive. They move very quickly, so you gotta be very careful. Pretty sure I can beat this one back again. So yeah, just make sure that you know when purpley shows up, because they'll block a camera. Sometimes you're not looking at the camera and you let it go by. You don't realize that he showed up at the camera. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. There, that's the furthest he actually got in the game. So you need to remember how he shows up in the cameras as well. But yeah, that's Smiley's 2 game. I'm gonna have to go back and try it, because that seemed really fun what I was trying to do there. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot that some of these games existed for years. I'd been wanting to do a video like this, where I just go back and get nostalgic over playing these old games. But I didn't do it for a long time. You can tell a lot of like my art style is still pretty similar in this game, and you know, like the sense of humor as well. You know, it's very clearly mine. I trademarked my sense of humor, I mean, and he moved really quickly on that one. But the night's over. Local factory burned down. Police say the cause of the fire was that someone was microwaving Pop-Tarts. Yeah, a lot of these games have copyrighted music in them as well. Which, you know, like they're Scratch games. I feel like, come on, give me a little levy here. So yeah, that's the entirety of that game. It turns out that was the only one that I was able to beat in this video so far. Let's see if I'll be able to. Oh no! I'm not gonna lie, guys, after going back and playing this game, I honestly found it kind of boring, which is not what I can say about this next game. Back in 2018, Five Nights at Freddy's released what was, at the time, the biggest game in the entire series, Ultimate Custom Night. A roster of 50 characters, an incredible goodbye to an incredible pioneered mechanic by the series. And in 2018 of that same year, released... Ladies and gentlemen, and people of non-specific genders, here is what's probably my favorite game in the entire Smiley series. Ultimate Smiley Night. All of your favorites are back! In this game, you can tell that this is my take on Ultimate Custom Night, where all the characters from the previous games make an appearance. They all have basically the same mechanics, but if you want to read up more on how each of them works, in the game page there is a description box below. So let's just pause the music for right now, actually. Actually, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And just read what the instructions say again. Smiley's Diner, Ultimate Smiley Night, USN. The final installment of the Smiley's Diner series, for real this time, brings back all the characters from the previous games. Can you beat 10-3 mode? So here we have the controls, right? Again, we have WASD that controls the doors. We have E, and you can use that to shock orangey. You can use the mouse to do everything else. So again, warning, blah blah blah. You have all the people that helped inspire this. It's actually, I think, really good. And again, you know, you have set all characters to 0. You can set them all to 1. You can set them all to 3. Right? You can customize each character to your liking. Technically, the stars down here, that's not supposed to happen again. I don't think this game has, this game does not have cloud variables. But technically, if you were to like legitimately beat this game, you would get this gold star. It says golden star for beating 10-3 mode, right? Obviously, you didn't beat 10-3 mode. This wasn't supposed to happen like that. Let me see if clicking on the green flag makes it go away. Nope, it doesn't. I just messed it up. It was a glitch. So now, if you want to learn what each character does, you can click down here on this little gray block, and it'll tell you, right? Smiley, he'll make his way to the office on the right side. Once he leaves, he'll never go back. Close the door when he gets there, or click on him. Bluey moves on the left side of the diner. Close the door when he gets there. Greenie, same as Bluey, but on the right. You have Orangey, hides in his curtain. Use E or mouse clicker to shock him back in. Orangey, hides in his curtain. Use E or mouse clicker to shock him back in. I read that wrong twice. He'll drain power when he gets to the door. Purpley, appears in cameras and blocks your view. Click on him to make him go away, or he won't let you see anything for some time. Pinky, same as Smiley, but on the left. Reddy, same as Bluey. Cyani, same as Greenie. Stripey, travels through the vent. When you hear the metal noises, close it. Phone Dude, calls you randomly. Click on him when he appears on your screen to mute. And actually in this game, there is an added character, that being the Phone Dude. Yes, the same guy that my friend Martin, it's MCB, voiced for all these games, makes an appearance in this one too. So as you can tell, the office layout here is basically the same as all the other games. You get 2 doors, but you also have a vent. And actually Stripey, he moves through the vent towards your office. So whenever you hear him make a sound, you want to close it out on him. Aside from that, every other character has basically the same similar mechanic. Now here's a character that wasn't in any of the previous games, and his name is Blowy, which if you couldn't tell, that's actually a reference to Baldi's Basics, but that's a video topic for another day. He's basically the Rockstar Foxy of this game, where he'll appear at around every hour of the night, and basically give you power-ups and cheats that you can use to get through the night. Alright, so now as you can tell, right, you put them all to 3, right, and you click start. That gets you to start the night. Now, because this game has such a large cast of characters, as you can tell, the characters are the shapes and colors that they are. That was just me trying to get around it on Scratch, because the screen was a little too small to include every single character. Depending on, oh, okay, I got jump scared now. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It just glitched out on me. It's a Scratch FNAF game, okay? So when Blowy appears, right, they're basically the, what is it, Rockstar Foxy of this game. and they'll help you with little things that you can do. So you can have 5% more power if you need it. You can have you can eliminate a character, I guess. I don't know which characters you can eliminate from the game. And then you have Fast Night Cheat, which, you know, speeds up how fast the night goes. Now, you do want to do as much as you can to not waste your power. I just don't remember how fast like certain characters actually are. The power, that is. And I'm not gonna click on Blowy because I'm pretty sure that I can actually beat this game without, you know, like any cheats. I don't think I need to use any of the cheats though. Sometimes the characters get really close in a loop, right? And then you don't gotta really think about it all that much. Again, maybe because I'm the creator of this game, I'm pretty good at it. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the night. So yeah, you won. That's how you beat the hardest mode on one of these games. Actually, now that I think about it, this game mode might actually be easier than the second game. So maybe in that sense, it is just like Five Nights at Freddy's. Wow, what a beautiful trip down memory lane with some of these games. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this one is probably my favorite Smiley's game, just because I think it's like the most functional one I ever made. Most of these games were made as jokes, really. So they were never all that serious. But after realizing that I had actually learned a lot through making these projects, I wanted to give myself a chance to make an honest FNAF fan game. Which leads us into my pride and joy and what I think was actually the best thing I ever made in Scratch. That being Katy's Burgers and Pizza. So yeah, let's read these instructions here. Katy's Burgers and Pizza. Welcome, valued employee of Katy's Burgers and Pizza. We just opened a new location and hired you as a new night guard. You don't really meet our qualifications, but you're cheap. And as you can tell right here, it actually has almost 900 views. It has 859 views. I mean, it really is just such a nice game. And I want to dedicate the rest of this video to just going over it, basically. Because you can beat this. This is the most functional FNAF fan game that I made. I've already played it, I think maybe 3 times before recording this video. And there's been a couple of glitches, but this one is so far the least glitchy one that I ever made. So I want to just go over it because, again, it really is my pride and joy of all the games that I made on Scratch. As you can tell, this game has a similar setup as the other ones. You know, you got your cameras here, you have 2 doors to either side. And now let me introduce you to these characters. We got Katy, the kitty cat, and she moves to your left door, starting from the show stage towards your left door. She's the face of this mascot horror that I made, I guess. Then we got Pico, the Mexican dog, and he moves towards your right door, so the opposite of Katy. So if you actually play this game, his original name is included in this game, but I'm just gonna be honest, I changed his name going forward now. Because his original name was a different word, and I didn't realize what that word actually meant. I thought it meant lazy bum. I didn't realize it meant dick. So yeah, from now on, his name is Pico, the Mexican dog. Then we got Gary. Gary, he's a squirrel, not a fox. And Gary is actually one of the more interesting characters that I made for one of these games because he can actually decide to move to either door. So yeah, you gotta watch out for him. And then we have Petey the Penguin. Now, if you've ever played Ultimate Custom Night, like I was just talking about, Petey basically works like L-Chip in that game, where he'll show up on the cameras and you gotta click him away, or else he'll show you an ad and you won't be able to see anything. So of course, just like these other games, right, you have the character right there in the front, right? You have this like static, that when you start the game, right, just up like that. You have the title that kind of glitches in and out. You have your start, your second night, and you have your custom mode. So let's start out on night 1. And on this one, I actually voiced the phone guy, the phone dude, the call dude.
Yo, what am I, dude? Welcome to Katy's Burgers and Pizza, where we sell the best burgers and pizza in town. Just don't go over that with the health inspectors.
So yeah, currently you're listening to a 15-year-old version of me.
Well, coming close to you. Just make sure that the power doesn't go down.
You also have this little plushie thing in the office. I don't think the other Smiley's games had that, but you can click on the plushie, and it squeaks. I like a lot more the sign and color aspect of this game compared to every other Smiley's game that I created. I mean, just look at it. It's just such a nice pastel colors here. And now the character AI in this game is actually a little bit more complicated than all of my other games. You might get to see that more once they become more active on night 2.
Hey, dude. Now, technically, I know.
So yeah, you see the red guy, he came to the closet.
To keep you here, but the problem is that the person that was supposed to replace you, they said that they were sick. They came down with the flu or something. To be honest, it sounded perfectly fine. I think that they just didn't want to come to this job. I mean, I wouldn't know why. The pay is awful. If you're staying, just know that there's another character this night that might try to sabotage you. His name is Petey. He's like the
Petey the Penguin,
as we call him.
You've already seen him a couple of times before I clicked on him.
Anyway, if you do see him, like in your cameras, just click on him to make him go away. You might be asking, what is the logic behind that? And since they didn't want to come out with like an actual logical explanation to do it, let's just say it happens.
Technically I could risk a PD attack just to show you what he does. Come here with Gary, he's a squirrel, not a fox. Oh yeah, I actually did think that he was a fox, actually. So yeah, now he's gone. And that's the reason why you don't want him to appear, because he'll show an ad for the restaurant in front of you, and then you can do nothing but just wait for the ad to be over. You know, now that I think about it, this place is kind of like a Chili's, right? It's kind of like if Chuck E. Cheese made Chili's, like an American Mexican fusion restaurant with animatronics, right? Yo, I want to go eat here, actually. Woo! I won the second night. Yeah, I got $2 overtime. So yeah, that's the first and second nights of this game. And now, here we have the custom mode. So you get the custom mode. I want to beat 4-3 mode. But yeah, as you can see, this is just a really cute little, very direct, you know, kind of funny, I guess you could say, like, parody of FNAF games, right? I think it has a lot of good elements for this type of game, right? And it just shows, like, how far it really came along with making these types of, like, you know, FNAF parody games. So yeah, as you can see, Gary the squirrel has a really interesting, you know, kind of a little bit more complex mechanic. Here on this mode, you want to be more aware of wherever Petey could show up on the cameras, kind of like memorizing wherever he could come, because if you don't pay attention to that, then, you know, not only will he jump scare you, but the ad basically doesn't leave the whole night. That's kind of the problem with this mode. This is what happens. Just get stuck with an ad all night. So I might as well just get jump scared at this point. Okay, I'm gonna try that again, because it's completely doable. I just got distracted there. So again, when a character gets to your door, you always want to make sure that you close the door when they show up on the camera, not when they're not showing up on the camera. Because that means that they either left or they got into your office. Here it seems like they're moving at a more constant rhythm with each other. So it seems like they're hitting the doors like closer, you know, closer together, which is better for, I guess for me, because, you know, I can anticipate when more than one character is going to hit at the door. You got to be careful with Gary mostly, because, you know, since Gary can move to either side, you can't really predict him until he actually does move. And it's always good when he moves to a side that another character's side, because that means I just gotta wait a little bit longer for the other character to move alongside Gary. Petey can show up on any one of them, and you always gotta click on him before he shows you an ad on this mode, or else, you know, you're stuck with an ad screen the whole night. I think I'm getting really close to just being able to beat this completely. Yep, that's it. 7% power remaining. Oh man, we don't even get to see what the actual ending screen shows up. We don't even get to see because he was there. You know, maybe we'll actually get to see what the actual ending screen looks like when I beat Nightmare Mode. Now, in this game, oh my goodness, what happened? Oh no, that was spooky, because I was just about to talk about Jor. Now, Jor is basically a shadow version of Katy, I think. They're a shadow cat. And the way that they work is that they only show up on Nightmare Mode, which you can find in the custom night. And they basically do a combo of everything, which I'll show you now. Now, Nightmare Mode, you're actually fighting off this shadow character called the Moore. Now, whenever Moore moves to the closet, that might actually be it. Maybe Moore's the only one. Moore can move to each side door, but when he moves to the closet, that's how you know that he's coming to that side. Now, Moore has disappeared. What happens is that now he'll show up on the cameras, I think, between like 6 or 7 times. And you always gotta make sure that you click on him, because otherwise you get jump scared and your night ends. So yeah, Nightmare Mode, one more time. Okay, closet, that means that he's going to that door. And yeah, at random times in the night he'll just start doing this, and you want to always click on the camera before he appears. Then he'll go back. Then he'll go back to the stage. Just really quick reaction time. Okay, now he's showing up on the cameras. Yeah, sometimes he'll just straight up disappear on the map, and when he does that, that means that he's gonna start showing up on the cameras, and you always wanna... I find the best strategy is just to stay on the middle camera and then wait until he shows up on the other cameras, because you're always like an equal sort of distance from all the other ones. So I guess technically you could beat this night by like having both door closed. I don't know how much the power drain would be. I'm gonna show you an Easter egg here. Once it shows up, that is. So yeah, more is pretty aggressive actually. It's a lot of quick reaction time. Yeah, whenever you have a little longer periods where he's not showing up, that just means that he's gonna show up on the cameras, and you always gotta make sure clicking on him. Yeah, there we go. We beat it. We beat Nightmare Mode. And now we get to see what the actual ending screen is supposed to look like when you don't get jump scared by an ad. Congrats! Notice of termination. Openly disobeying company policy, tampering with dangerous machinery. Take a bath, jeez. So yeah, that was my full playthrough of Katy's Burgers and Pizza. My original Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. And out of all the ones that I made, this one is my favorite. If I could have made a second one, maybe I would have made it similar to Smiley's Diner too, but really I never did. This was my last attempt at a FNAF fan game, and shortly thereafter I quit Scratch. Part of it was that I think I felt like I had done everything that I could with Scratch. So yeah, let me see if I can just start the game again, and if I can get an Easter egg. There we go. We got the Easter egg.
Where we sell the best burgers and pizza in town. Just don't go.
So yeah, so what happens when you click the more plushie is that you get immediately jump scared in the game. There's about a 1 in 10 chance, I think, to get the more plushie on the desk. Now, I wonder if it is technically possible to run out of power on this night. I think I did make it, so like if you just hold the doors down all night, you'll run out of power by like maybe 5:30 a.m. So yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun with this game. I'm pretty sure once the power runs out, you do eventually get jump scared by Katy. Okay, so you run out of power by 3 a.m. if you just hold it down. Yeah, and the music box music that I used was his theme from Undertale. Again, it's copyrighted music, but don't sue me, Toby Fox. So yeah, that's what Katy's jump scare looks like. I think that's all the Easter eggs in this game. There might be another one. Oh yeah, there is. Here. So if you actually, what gets the Easter egg? 2003, I think. Yeah, there you go. 2003. Yeah. So if you got 2003 mode, right, which is just Katy at 2, and then PD at 3, right? Then this one is actually a secret mode. I call it birthday mode because I was born in 2003. And as you can tell, the Easter egg here, you got this birthday cupcake, right? You got this little cupcake right here with this candle that flickers. Maybe I should have added like a birthday song, right? Like a little music box birthday song for this game, or at least for this mode. I mean, it's not a hard mode to beat, and I'm pretty sure that I could technically beat it now if I just had both doors closed the entire night. Yeah. So you got it. Congrats, notice of termination, right? Disobeying dangerous machinery, take a bath, jeez, right? And that's everything about this game as far as I remember. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys. As crazy as it is to, I guess, say or think about, I still look back at this game very fondly. And I really like these little crude caricatures that I made for this game. To the point that I really decided, hey, I want to give them a makeover. So this is what the Katy's gang used to look like. And this is how I redesigned them. I'll probably show a better image in the video. And of course, I'll post it on my art pages as well. So yeah, just to go over a little bit of these redesigns. I made Katy more bulky. I made all of these guys more bulky, actually. Trying to make them look more child-friendly, I guess. We got Katy here, you know, she's serving up a plate of food, right? She can go up to customers and greet them. And she has this bib, which says eat more, which I think goes well with the humor of this game. Then you got Pico, and he has, you know, this vest and, you know, mariachi hat, or Mexican hat. He's Mexican if you couldn't tell. And he has a trumpet, right? So, you know, kind of being part of the band and whatever. And Gary was probably the more interesting one to redesign because I couldn't really think at first what would be a good redesign for him, but I turned him into a country farmer type. And as you can tell, I kind of based him off of, like, you know, Withered Foxy and like Mangle and the Withered animatronics, basically, where he's kind of missing parts around his body. You know, he's probably out of commission. And I don't know if you can see very clearly here, but his eyes are actually a reference to the Secret History Tales from that Mashed parody. So yeah, if you play Friday Night Funkin', you probably know what it is that I'm talking about. And here I guess is what like a night version of them would look like. You know, usually FNAF animatronics, when their eyes go dark, they have white pupils on their eyes. But in this one, I kind of tried to go for like opposite colors, I guess. But yeah, just really trying to make something different, you know, trying to give new life to these characters. You get it? New life? It's a FNAF reference. Now, if you've gotten this far into the video, you might be asking yourself, what's the point of all this? What exactly was the point of this video again? Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game franchise that started all the way back in 2014, and more than a decade later, it still continues to find new audiences and resonate with new young people that keep discovering really the draw, the magic of these incredible games. It truly felt that Scott Cawthon had brought about a new era of media into the world. I feel like a lot of these new genres of internet horror and found media, whatever, right? Analog horror, digital horror, whatever, right? They just really couldn't exist without the appeal of Five Nights at Freddy's. And so many people just had different ways of showing their appreciation. And one of them was to make fan games. And I think, you know, it's incredible that fan games like Five Nights at Candy's, Pop Goes, right? Joy of Creation all managed to have, you know, their own little niche audiences within the FNAF community, and that they also get to see for their creators a lot of success by collaborating with the guy that started it all and by releasing merch of these games as part of the Fanverse initiative. I think it's really special how Scott has given back to his community in that way. And but I also think that we shouldn't forget that FNAF is kind of punk in a certain way, in the sense of like, you had, even aside from, you know, the big fan games that you can, even just like the little fan games that you can find on GameJolt, you had an entire rogue group of teenagers that were making their own, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's games, that they were trying to express their love for the franchise by making their own versions of the games. And maybe that's kind of special. Maybe that's what art it should be all about. It should be about inspiring others to then go ahead and create more art. There's a Toby Fox quote that's something like that, right? And you know, sometimes I wish that I could go back and fix all the problems that these games have, make them better, really just give them another go, right? And, you know, in my head, in my deepest desire, sometimes I wish that instead, right, somebody else would come along and make them better. But I guess that's only in my dreams. I really wish somebody would come along and make them better. I really wish somebody would come along and make them better. I really wish somebody would come along and make them better. Wait a minute. What's this? Smiley's Diner Redrawn. Smiley's Diner 2 Redrawn. Smiley's Diner 3 Redrawn. Ultimate Smiley Night Redrawn. Smiley's Diner Redrawn Collection. Smiley's Diner Redrawn Collection is a remake of all 4 installments that were made by Ali Animation in 2018 on Scratch. And now, we present you our own remakes of all 4 installments and putting it all as a collection. They fucking remade all my games?